I guess what I want to start with for my testimony or what's going on in my life right now is just kind of showing how God takes us from point to point. It's something that He doesn't leave you sitting still. All right, so I guess I got saved when I was 8. I've always been in the church, so I don't have a whole lot of story to tell as far as my huge life change. But the things that have changed in my life that God has pulled me through is like, right after college. I thought I had everything planned out. I had gone to school for, what I wanted to go to school for, and I had met a girl. Well, God ended up taking that away, and so that plan was suddenly crushed. And then after college, searching for a job, turns out that there are no engineering jobs in Ohio, so that was kind of crushed. And so I ended up, first job out of college, I was living with my parents, which is what I was sure I was never going to do. So I lived with my parents for a year, which is okay. It wasn't bad. And then I get another job opportunity, but it's not in Ohio. And suddenly, okay, what are you doing with me, God? You're kind of taking me out of what I was thinking my life was going to be. But I said, okay, well, if this is God's plan, then He'll get me back here if He wants me back here. So I just kind of decided, after much pain, that I was going to go ahead and take Him at His word and say, hey, this is what He's going to do for me. So I moved to New Jersey, and I was there for a while. And sure enough, I got to move back to Cincinnati after about a year and a half. So there's a bit of moving around, but while I was there, I had the chance to kind of grow a little bit and learn to be a little bit my own person. While living in Cincinnati, the company told me that I could either move back to New Jersey or lose my job. So I moved back to New Jersey again, and this time I ended up finding another church. Of course, it was named Grace. It seems all the churches I go to are named Grace. And again, it was this really cool thing. Even though I was taken out of my plan, God had this plan for me. He's like, all right, I'm going to put you into this little tiny church, and I'm going to give you opportunities to do things like, teach the youth group, or to play on the piano at the church there, or just to talk with the pastor and kind of encourage him. So while I was there, I had found a lot of opportunities that I would not have had if God hadn't given me the chance to live there. So it was a very neat opportunity. And then that job falls through, and again, God moves me out of this comfort area that I was starting to get comfortable and in a routine again. Then He picks me up out of there and drops me someplace else. And for a year, I found myself traveling all over the United States, and I land in Buffalo. And again, same type of thing. I land here with just this intent to take God at whatever He has for me. And, I find myself playing on the keyboard, and I find myself getting to teach these equipping classes. And again, it's just like, if I was left at home, if God left me exactly where I was at, I know that I would be doing exactly the same thing that I was doing when I left high school. But God doesn't leave us where we're at. God grabbed a hold of me and took me all over the country to do it, but that's what I needed. And I find myself doing things that stretch me and make me do new things and read more into His Word and to learn more about Christ. And so it's been, it's kind of a neat trip for me. All right, the verse that kind of describes what I was just talking about, where God's constantly with you. Psalm 139, starting at verse 7. It says, where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of dawn, and I dwell in the remotest part of the sea, even there your hand will lead me, and your right hand will lay hold of me.